Thank you, Vilros, for sending this item to check out. We are looking at the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W Basic Starter Kit. Okay, we have an adapter. The adapter has a USB-A female with a USB micro male. Here we have the 2.5A Raspberry Pi micro USB power supply, which has the USB micro at the end. It doesn't look like it disconnects, so it just has an off and on switch. Then we have the Raspberry Pi Zero compatible multi-use case. Instruction manual. Supposed to have, this is the open GPIO cover. Then the enclosure itself. We have the case bottom, the closed GPIO cover. Inside, we have the rubber non-slip pads. Then we have the camera module, the mounting panel, then screws for the camera module, then an Allen wrench. That's also a screwdriver. Here we have the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. Like some micro USB connections, a HDMI to mini HDMI adapter. An HDMI, I assume this goes here. Yep. It's the connection you'll use for the Raspberry Pi. Then we have the heatsink for the Raspberry Pi Zero. Then the 1.5-inch camera module adapter cable. 40 pin, 2x20 male header. Then we have the neoprene part storage case bag with pocket. And then we have the quick start guide for your Raspberry Pi Zero. So there are many things you can use this for, but I want to try to use it as a mini little gaming setup. But I need to have, well, I don't need to have, I want to have an enclosure where I can play it like a portable gaming system. But again, you can use this for many purposes, many different purposes. But we're going to see about creating a retro gaming system. Systems that are similar to the 8-bit and 16-bit. So how can we create this Raspberry Pi 2 into a retro gaming system? Well, there's two ways to do it. We can either have it as a portable system, that let's say we have it installed. We have it installed and then we connect it to a monitor. We connect it to somewhere that has a screen. And that is one way to have like a mini, like a little gaming system you can take with you. Another way we can do it is to buy a different enclosure, not this one, but buy a separate enclosure and install that in a compatible retro gaming system. Now, I'm new to this, but what I want to use the Raspberry Pi 2W for is a retro gaming system. Now, most people probably don't want to spend money on a different case since it already comes with one. But in the future, I want to use it as a portable system that has a screen that I can use. They do make a Game Boy version type. But for the people who just buy this and just want this the way it is, how can we use this to create a gaming system? Alright, so we're going to have to start putting it together and learning some things about this particular startup kit. So we are going to go step by step on how we need to put together the startup kit to use it as a little retro gaming system. Because basically it's just a little tiny PC, very tiny computer. Um, so we're not going to need all these parts. Uh, for one, we're going to need power, but not yet. So I'm going to put this aside here. We may need this, maybe not. There are two covers here. There's a GPIO open and a GPIO closed. We're going to go with the closed one because we don't need the GPIO, which stands for General Purpose Input Output, which is you're going to need for these when you need to connect different projects that it will require this to be wired into the Raspberry Pi. But for our purposes, we're not going to need this. So let's put that over here. And let's put the open over there. Okay, with this side, we would take this off if we wanted access to the SD card. We want to take it in and out and replace it. But for this case, we're not really going to replace it. But just to show you how it's done, we get the Allen wrench here. You'll have access. So when it's closed here, you can still access the SD card that you put in. So we aren't going to need this. This is the camera module mounting panel. We're not going to need that. We can probably use this later, but for now we'll just put that aside. Then we have the heat sink. So we have the heat sink here, and this we remove the cover to expose the adhesive. See here, this is the chip. So there we go. We have the heatsink on there. Make sure it's pressed on there. Okay, it's on there good. And this is part of the camera module, the adapter cable, which we don't need, so we're going to put that aside. So make sure you have an SD card that's at least a class 10 and has 8 gigabytes of storage. This one just happens to be the SanDisk Extreme, 256 gigabytes, and this is a U class speed of 3, which just means 30, or it's a video class. See, it's hard to see, but it just says V30, which is again higher than 10. This is just one of many different card readers you can use. I just use this one because it has a cable and I can move it around and have it on my desk without having to, detach it from my actual computer. Alright, now let's get a screen of what I'm looking at here. We're going to need two things to start off. We're going to download the Raspberry Pi Imager from the official site. So we're going to download it, which I already downloaded the Imager file. Then we're going to need RetroPie. And since we are using the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W, we're going to download this one. And I already downloaded it here beforehand. And since I already installed the Imager, let's just open it up and go to my shortcut here, right click and open as administrator. So we have the Raspberry Pi Imager open, and it's going to go through some steps. We're going to go to the device, select the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. Then it's going to ask us for the operating system. We're going to scroll down to the bottom and use a custom one, which is right here, the RetroPie. Then you navigate to the folder you're using. So once you navigate it to the folder you're using, we're choosing RetroPie Buster. Then we're going to open that. Then we're going to go next. And here we have installed the card reader, which I previously used on a different install here, but we're just gonna wipe it clean. Then it's gonna tell us to write the image and review. Is this what we want? This is where we're gonna go. Yes, everything looks good. We have the device, right device. We have the operating system we want to use and the storage, which I only have one storage attached, so there's no mistakes to be made. And then we're gonna write. Then it's gonna ask us, are you sure? Because it's gonna erase everything. And you're like, yes, I understand. Please erase and write. Oh, we seem to have an issue. I guess the card got loose. Let's cancel that. Format, a quick format. Let's try this again. Let's try this one more time. Next, right. I understand. Write and erase. Maybe it does not like connect it. Make sure everything's good. It was working this time. I'm not sure what the issue was. Maybe the card wasn't in correctly. But I had detached the cable, put the cable back in, pull out the card, put the card back in, and it seemed to be working again. I think the card just wasn't. It just happens sometimes. So basically, turn it off and on. That's what I did. It's gonna verify. And last time I had an issue where the verification didn't work, and I tried it again, did another reformat, and it was accepted. All I did was different was use it as administrator, and that seemed to work. Hopefully, it'll work this time without doing anything, without doing any changes to it. But some possible issues is your USB hub is causing the issue, or the graphics, not the graphics, the SD card, the micro SD card, probably has some issues with it. In some cases, it said you can just. Most people skipped it. The game still worked. The system still worked without being verified. All right, no issues other than the couldn't read the card or the card kept cutting off. You can eject automatically. Now you can remove it safely. So we're now going to insert the micro SD card into the Raspberry Pi. So after about a minute or so, you're going to come to this kind of window. It's different because it's just not my first time using it, but it'll say like welcome. And if you don't have a gamepad connected to it, it's going to say something like no gamepad detected. Do you want to configure one, or do you want to skip and do it at a different time? So have a gamepad ready ahead of time. If not, you're going to use your keyboard, and then you'll set the keys on how you want to control the whole system. So make sure you select something that's easy to understand and how you're going to use it. So I had learned that the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 controllers worked, and wired PC controllers mostly were all compatible. But I had seen nothing if PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4 controller worked. But I can confirm that the PlayStation 4 controller worked, and also the PlayStation 5 controller worked if you wanted to use it for your RetroPie. So here we are going to select it. See, if you have to hold the button down for about 1.5 seconds or so, and it'll start the process. And you want to be careful, of course. You're going to press up, down, left, right on the D-pad, and start and select however you want to do that. I'm going to put it over here and select over here. Then we got the east, south, north, west, left shoulder, right shoulder button, and then we have the triggers. You have to be careful on the PlayStation 5 when it comes to the trigger buttons. So you're just going to have to do it as fast as you can. Click it and then let go. I mean, you don't have to snap it, but you want to be quick, because if you just press it normally, I think because it's like velocity sensitive, that it'll trigger more buttons as you go down. So you just want to be a quick trigger. Then we have the left thumb. You're going to press down the button without pressing up or down or left or right. Then the right thumb, or the R3. Then you can do analog up, analog down, then analog left, analog right, right analog up, right analog down, right analog left, right analog right, and the hot key button, we can use this PlayStation button in the middle, and you're just going to press OK. Oh, you just got to hold it down. You got to hold it down for a few seconds. Then it triggers, and there you go. You'll have control of the RetroPie. So now we're ready to transfer the files, but we are going to need a USB stick or a flash drive or a thumb drive. I'm going to be using a card reader with a separate micro SD card. So first we need to prepare it, and right now here I have a separate one, and I already formatted it. If you didn't have it formatted, or you need to format it, you can right click on the thing you need, and you can change it to a FAT32 or exFAT, and then you just press start. Alright, so we have this set up. Now we are going to have to create a folder in there and name it RetroPie. So let's create a new folder. Right click and create a new folder and rename it as RetroPie. So once we have the folder in there called RetroPie, we're going to take this card and install it into the RetroPie. So we have my card reader with the micro SD card, and we're going to connect it to the RetroPie, And then I'm just going to turn it on. And we're just going to wait for a while. The system's going to take about maybe 1 minute to load up, and then it's going to need to do whatever it needs to do to create something onto this drive, which I'll explain a little bit later. I'm just going to wait at least a few minutes. If we see no blinking within the few minutes, then it's ready to go. Now, the instructions weren't clear if the Raspberry Pi needed to be on first before you put the USB stick in. But I guess we'll see if this works too. Okay, we're going to remove the card and install it back into the PC. If it worked correctly, we should see some extra folders in the drive. But it's not showing up. Let me try it again. Yeah, sometimes it does that. You're just gonna have to pull out, put it back in. So once you open the drive, we have the folder that we created before, and what's empty before now has folders in it. And you are going to focus on this folder, the ROM, and the respective folder that you need is where you will drop your files that you have. And then once you are finished, you're going to pull out the card. So depending on how many files you need to transfer, we're going to put the card or the flash drive into the RetroPie. And what could take a minute to a couple of hours, depending again on how many files need to be transferred. Just give it time, wait, and then once it stops blinking for a long time, then it's done. And then once it's finished, you'll remove the stick, and you're gonna have to restart the RetroPie. Now you're gonna need to restart the device. Gonna press start here and go to quit, and then we're going to restart emulation station. Yes. And while it is doing that, it will load the games back into the RetroPie. So hopefully all your files will be there. But if they aren't, just repeat the step where you add the flash drive onto the RetroPie, wait for the blinking to stop, and then once it's stopped, you're going to restart the emulation station. And again, check your files if they're all there, and if everything's good, you're ready to go. And this has been FozzyMcFozFoz. Hopefully any of this has been helpful for you. If it has, be sure to like and subscribe.